Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome to another very exciting video for EVE Echoes. In today's special video we're going to be taking a look at the Starfaring Festival, a new event that NetEase are teasing arriving into EVE Echoes in, well, as you can see on screen, 29 days on the 19th of August 2022. Now this is clearly part of the anniversary celebration, 2 years of EVE Echoes, but there's a whole load of crazy stuff that has been teased here, and I'm going to be twinning this up with a load of different information I've had from the developers, from developer Q&As, from Reddit AMAs, from the roundtables, all this kind of stuff. I'm going to be tying a neat little bow on it to give an idea of what might be coming in the next month or so. Now ultimately, as with all these kind of videos when I do them, this is a bit of a tinfoil hat moment, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt. We're having a look at what information we have and what this could mean going forward. If you find yourself enjoying this video, please do take that moment to hit like on it, as it does really help the channel out, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe and ding that notification bell. Finally, if you do really want to go the extra mile to help support the channel, thank you ever so much. I have a Patreon page you can pledge to support at, and a Redbubble merchandise store where you can grab some exclusive swag. All that said and done though, let's jump straight in because there's a lot to cover in this. Remember, pinch of salt with everything taken, but let's have a look at the Starfaring Festival. Now what we're looking at here is eveechoes.com/starfaring. This has been posted up on Twitter, Facebook, Discord. I even think there's a link to it in game. But hey, ultimately you can see this really cool graphic on screen here, and I think this does actually give us some really quite interesting information. Now it's easy to just look at this and go, oh, there's a load of really cool capitals on here, like you can see the Revelations, there's a Thanatos at the front, some Chimeras, some Nidhoggers on the side, going off into the distance. And on the subject of capitals, if you look at the center of the screen here, just behind the Thanatos, there are some unusual shapes. Could these be Force Auxiliaries? Now in EVE Online, Force Auxiliaries are essentially capital-sized logistics vessels. And I'll be completely frank, I'm not overly excited about these coming to EVE Echoes. I think Capitals launched at this time last year, and that's fair enough. Some people have been really enjoying having Capital ships in, but they are probably the only real ore-sink that we have in the game right now. Not even that much of a great ore-sink at that. Ultimately, the fact that Capitals can be destroyed and pretty much then have to be rebuilt due to how their insurance works means that having Capitals destroyed does really help. Adding Force Auxiliaries changes the game quite a lot there. You've got capital-sized logistics. They stop ships dying, and that's literally what they exist to do, so that will negatively affect the market if that's a case after they've been built. Obviously, you get that nice rush when we've built our first ones. I would rather kind of see things like the Chemosh and some of the other faction, like Dreadnoughts and Carriers, arrive instead, because those to me are much more expensive in regards to their ISK and their like mineral and ore costs, but they don't change the game as much. Like the Chemosh is freaking terrifying, don't get me wrong, imagine a Blood Raider Revenant and that's the Chemosh, but when it comes down to it, it's not as game-changing as Force Auxiliaries are. But could this be a sign that we're getting Force Auxiliaries? Capitals, as in Dreadnoughts and Carriers, did arrive this time last year with the first anniversary, so I guess it does make sense those arriving at the second anniversary. Now, before we move on to the next bit I want to talk about, we're going to keep on the subject of ships and just have a look here at the top left and in the top right. Those are some unusual silhouettes, and I had some people say, hang on, those look pretty big for Condors. Well, yeah, they're not Condors. Those are Enforcers. Now, the Enforcer in EVE Online is one of the Concord vessels. You've got the Enforcer, which is the cruiser size Concord ship. You also have the Marshal, which is the battleship, and the Pacifier, which is the frigate. And the Pacifier is actually one of my favourite ships in EVE Online. It's an excellent ship for exploration. It gets bonuses to all weapon types as well, except drones. It's a very powerful ship that's very, very versatile and looks absolutely amazing as well. Now, could these be coming to EVE Echoes? Well, I kind of have to say yes they are, because this screenshot has been shared. Now ultimately I'm out of Wi-Fi range at the moment properly, I don't have decent internet right now, so I can't jump into game and see this properly, but this is on the Caldari ship tree, which is not where it should be at all. It is a Concord ship, the Enforcer prototype. Now you can see here 4 high slots, 3 mids, 4 lows, 3 of each of the rig types, plus we've got the abilities here can be fitted with Sinusoidal Field, can be fitted with Covert Ops cloaking devices. If we were to have a look at the Enforcer as it exists in EVE Online, you'll see that it gets bonuses from recon ships, which is a special skill in EVE Online. That'd be 25% bonus to Warp Scrambler and Warp Disrupt optimal range, 50% Stasis Web optimal range, 50% warp speed and acceleration. Then the different racial skills for a cruiser, so a Mar, Caldari, Galente, and Minmatar cruiser, basically give you a 25% bonus to the weapon damage, so railguns, cannons, lasers, and missiles. Then for railguns, it's additional tracking speed. For cannons, it's additional fall-off. For missiles, again, it's additional range with flight time. And with lasers, it is optimal range bonuses on there as well. And you can see we have the Sinusoidal Field Generator and Cloaking Device skills on here as well. It's kind of what you'd expect. The stuff here at the bottom, I don't think we would ever see in EVE Echoes. 10% bonus to security status gains for destruction of non-capsuleer pirates while flying this ship, and armor repairer and shield booster effectiveness increased by a percentage equal to 10% pilot security status. Basically, in EVE Online, in addition to having the security status of the system, you as a pilot have your own security status based on whether or not you've been a pirate and been killing other players, or whether you've been doing Concord-based stuff. We don't have that in Echoes, so I don't know if they'd give this as a flat bonus or if they would just ignore it. But definitely, Enforcer Prototype is in the game files. That means I need to now go and have a look and see if we can find the Pacifier Prototype and the Marshal Prototype. And those are ships that, if you don't know them, if you haven't seen them before, are well worth taking a look for. They're really cool looking ships with some really cool bonuses. And we'll talk more about these in just a moment, but notice they are here on this artwork as well. Notably, they're flying past a Concord pillar as well. That star there is the Concord emblem over some kind of, big plinth thing going on here. Opposite this, we then have the 4 faction wargames banners for the Amar, the Galente, the Minmatar, and the Caldari. Now, I have to assume EVE Echoes, obviously NetEase, have their own assets and artwork that they can use in the construction of this kind of, asset and really cool image. They're not going to use the faction wargame ones just for ease of use. They have all kinds of stuff they would use. So why have they got the specific faction wargames ones here? Well, I have to assume that this means faction wargames might be coming back, whether that is DIR Reflection, as it was before, but with changes, based on the feedback that they've taken, whether it's entirely new game modes, who knows? EVE Online likes to do these big sort of arena battles during anniversary events and stuff like that as well, things like the Proving Grounds, and the Anger Games, that kind of stuff. So we might be seeing something like that coming to Echoes. I think it's more likely to be faction wargames getting a new mode, whether that's completely new or whether it's just new and improved on the DIR Reflection that we had before. So those are my thoughts looking at this image. Possible Force auxiliaries, possible Concord ships coming at some point in the future, but there is more information. We're going to skip the middle part of this because I want to save the kind of moaning section for the end of the video. Let's have a look instead at the bottom section here, which is the more events coming. Now, there are 4 planets on this that have some interesting little teasers that we can dive into. New gameplay, new event, new build-up system, and new enemy force. Now, when people have seen the enemy force and combined that with the Concord ship, it's like, oh, maybe Concord are going to be enemies. I really don't think they would. There is such a bit of the lore that basically Concord are kind of like the UN, so you don't really... there's not a great analogy before the lore buffs come at me, but they're kind of like the middleman that ties everything in EVE together and stops the empires just eternally warring against each other and provides some form of peace and security. So I don't think it's going to be Concord. This then leads the possibility of, could it be Yanjung at long last? Could we be getting enemy Yanjung? Again, this seems unlikely. Yanjung are kind of like Sisters of Eve and Mordu's Legion, in that they're their own unique faction, but they're not really aggressors in the strictest sense. They're not like Blood Raiders that go out there with raiding parties to bring back sacrifices. They're not like Sanchez's Nation that go on prowls to bring new slaves home. They're not like the Ghostus Pirates, which are literal pirates that go pillaging and raiding. They're not like the Angel Cartel or the Serpent. They're not pirates. The Yanjung are not pirates, so this doesn't seem likely. The two that do stick out to me as possibles, however, are rogue drones and sleepers. Now, why rogue drones, first of all? Well, if you were to go back and create a new character and do the tutorial, you'll be fighting against an Alvi drone. Now, Alvi drones are rogue drones. They are essentially drones that have gone, well, rogue, I guess. Now, in EVE Online, these are found mainly in the drone regions, but are also found in other areas of space too, mainly the drone regions though, and they were added when the drone regions opened up. Now, the drone regions are bits like Ethereum Reach, Peregrine Falls, Cobalt Edge, that kind of thing, Outer Passage. Those are areas that I do not foresee the developers opening up anytime soon. That would require a hell of a lot of new content, and even though we've got new gameplay, I don't think that really is what they're going for here, and we'll come to new gameplay in a moment. So rogue drones, definitely a possibility. I just think those are going to be tied more into when the drone regions eventually open up for us here in Echoes. That means sleepers, to me, are what we're looking at as a possibility here. Why sleepers? Well, if you were playing the Verge of Silence event, then you know that the sleepers already have their ships and stats in the game as it is. The Verge of Silence event, if the PvE version of it, had you going up against fleets of sleeper ships. So those already exist as assets, and that means that that could have been an excellent testing ground to tweak them and change them and then add them finally to the game. Now, this does a couple of things. This, to me, would suggest that sleepers aren't like the other factions. It's not like, you kill Blood Raiders to get Blood Raider parts to build Blood Raider ships. You kill Angels to get Angel parts for Angel ships, that kind of thing. You don't get that with sleepers. In EVE Online, you don't fly around in sleeper ships unless you are a developer. Let's not go down that one. Basically, the sleepers are not ships that you fly, but there could be some kind of system here that means as you're killing sleepers, you're boosting up Concord, which you can then buy the Enforcer prototype and things like that with. Possible. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if we see things like the Enforcer prototype, the Pacifier prototype, and the Marshal prototype just being added as login rewards as part of the new event. But if you asked me to put money down on anything, then for the new enemy force, I'm personally thinking sleepers. Now again, people then go, oh, sleepers? Sleepers are found in wormholes, right, Benzie? And yes, in EVE Online they are, so does that mean the new gameplay is wormholes? Maybe. I doubt it. I genuinely doubt it because of how things have gone so far in-game, and the developers have been very clear in saying that wormholes are something they'd like to add, but they're not confident adding them yet, and I kind of get that. The people who complain that nullsec is too dangerous are never going to enter a wormhole. The people who complain that local, when local chat was bugged, are never going to enter a wormhole, because there is no local. You can be sitting in a wormhole with 30 other players, and you don't know it until they literally jump in on you. Like, you don't see them in the local window, that kind of thing. So, and the way wormholes work is that it would pull a lot of players, I think, out of known space into what is referred to as J space, the space inside certain wormholes, that kind of thing. I don't think wormholes are coming. So what do I think the new gameplay could be? Well, top of my list, and my fingers crossed maybe, would be our equivalent of Abyssal Dead Spaces. Now again, I've done videos on Abyssal Dead Spaces, but for those who don't know what they are, Abyssal Dead Spaces are essentially a unique kind of PvE content. You use items called filaments to create a rift in space, you then jump in and there are 3 consecutive rooms. These rooms have some really cool weather, they have random enemies in them pulled from a table, and you have to clear all 3 rooms within 20 minutes, or you just lose, and everything that you are carrying is just gone. You're destroyed. You just reappear at whichever station you have set as home. Ultimately, Abyssal Dead Spaces are excellent in EVE Online because they are basically geared around frigate, destroyer, and cruiser pilots. 3 tonnages of ships that just don't really have much in the way of PvE viable content for them. And I would love to be able to undock a battleship and go ratting in nullsec, but then also undock a frigate or a cruiser and jump into an Abyssal Dead Space and run some of this content. It's pretty viable, it's a lot of fun, it's high risk though, because if you get caught in one of these rooms and, oh, I can't kill the enemy in time, your ship is gone. But this would twin in quite nicely if the new enemy force is sleepers. Because, okay, yes, they're Abyssal Dead Spaces, and Abyssal Dead Spaces are a Triglavian thing. If you look at the architecture in there, it's all Triglavian stuff. However, you do fight sleepers inside, Abyssal Dead Spaces as well. Okay, yes, you also fight Sancha and some angel ships that are exclusive in EVE Online that you don't see in Echoes, but I would love to see kind of a semi-wormhole sleeper Dead Space that you can create with a filament and jump into this dungeon, like we have our Nihilist Dead Space, but full of sleepers, and something I think that would be good for solo players on a time limit, because again, Abyssal Dead Spaces, 20-minute time limit, EVE Echoes mobile game, short burst gameplay, how well would that tie up? I have no idea what this could really be. I just have ideas of what I want the new gameplay to be, and to me, that seems to be the likely thing, that it's going to be something big, it's because it's the anniversary event, and it's going to be therefore geared towards the majority of players, and the majority of players are PvE pilots. So, something that every combat pilot can do, wherever they are in New Eden, in short burst gameplay, tied in with a new enemy force, would be awesome. Now, okay, new enemy force then could be Triglavians, we could be getting Triglavs and the Abyssal Dead Spaces. To me, that's too much. I don't see that happening because we still haven't got the Yanjung, which were promised at launch. There's a whole load of stuff missing that I think that they already have teased. If I hadn't seen this, you know, maybe, but there's a part of me, and if we hadn't had the sleepers in the Verge of Silence, then maybe. But the fact that we've got the sleepers, that we've got Yanjung ships, I kind of foresee those coming before we get Triglavians. My 2 cents at least, I could be wrong on that. So new gameplay to me, I think that's going to be sort of a dungeon-based experience like Abyssal Dead Spaces, and I'll be so happy if it is. New event, my goodness, where can I go with this one? New event could be anything. It could be more like arena, like we saw with the with things like the capital arena, where you fly a capital ship against each other. It could be just some new missions. It could be all kinds of things. Speculating what the new event is about is not really worth the time. That has just triggered a little thought in me, though, that the new gameplay could also be referring to faction war games, but again, I don't really see that as new gameplay. Even if it's DIR Reflection coming back, I don't think that is new gameplay. It's nothing that's different to what we already have. I know it's a different form of faction war games. I'm not saying, oh, it's the same thing as, you know, the Shattered Belts. Obviously it's not, it's a different type of thing, but I think new gameplay in this sense, the fact that they've given it its own sphere here, suggests it is something very different to what we already have, like when they added exploration. Okay, yeah, exploration is just flying around, but it's very, very, very different to what we had before. Finally then, we come to the new build-up system, and this, I have no idea. I have literally spent probably the last 2-3 hours trying to think of what on earth the new build-up system could be, and I've asked people on the official Discord, on the Catskull Discord, and just, we're all drawing blanks. New build-up system? Could it be something to do with building up, like, in nullsec, like sovereignty, building new stations and stuff like that? Could it be to do with rejigging all of the blueprints? An idea that was put forward in the comment section that I will do an entire video on was, wouldn't it be cool if you wanted a Rupture Guardian, you needed to build a Rupture first, and so the Rupture Guardian blueprint included, as one of its components, the Rupture, and then the Rupture 2 Guardian requires a Rupture Guardian. So if you want to build a Rupture 2 Guardian from scratch, you have to build a Rupture, then you upgrade that Rupture to a Rupture 2 Guardian, and then you get that consumed to build a Rupture 2 Guardian. And things like that. And then if you decided that actually you wanted a Rupture Interdictor, you would just build a Rupture and then use that Rupture in the process of building a Rupture Interdictor. Would give more reason to use some of the older blueprints, and would create more consumption in the system, which would be really, really cool. It also helps peg prices together. Could it be reworking blueprints like that? Could it just be that they're going to rebalance blueprints to use less ISK and more minerals? That would be lovely. I don't think that's what it is, but it could be. It could be, or it could just be a new leaderboard that you build your way up to the top of. I don't know. I do not know what this one could be. I would love answers on a postcard in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think on that one. New build-up system and new event. What kind of stuff have you seen around that you think those could be? Now, finally, to round off this video, let's go up one and talk about the Starfaring Festival in New Eden and the parade event that has been added in to the game today. In New Eden, reconstruction of the first Stargate linking Amar with Hedin marked the end of the Dark Ages. It's been 2,070 years since that date. A voyage ceremony will be held in memory of the historic event. An infinite amount of stars puts into perspective how small pilots are, yet greatness exists within them. Sail away to the stars, to the battlefield. You have the blessing of all. Now that's a really cool bit of lore. I like the fact that we're getting more of this kind of flavor text around things. Genuinely, role-playing in EVE is something I'm super, I really enjoy, and I'm glad to see that there's more of this stuff coming out. More flavor, more structure, more lore, more background. What I'm not happy to see is what this event actually has been. So I logged in this morning and I get this new thing in my events tab and I look at it and it's like, oh, you can sign your corporation up to join the parade. It's only $45 worth of Aurum to be in with the chance of being in the parade. And I'm like, wait, what? Basically, buy $45 worth of Aurum and you can sign your corporation up to join in with the parade event. Now, only 50 corporations that have signed up will eventually be chosen. So what happens to the people who have already spent their $45 worth of Aurum? Well, they'll get it back along with a compensation crate, which is kind of cool, but it's still not your money back, is it? You've still spent $45 in the game and you're just getting stuff that isn't really what you wanted it for. Also, by making it Aurum, and only the corporation CEO can sign you up, it means that me as a corporation CEO, I have to pay that fee. And it's not Plex, it's not an in-game currency or anything, no, it's Aurum. That means that no one can trade that to me, no one can give me Aurum. If my corporation says, well, we'd love to do this, but we know you don't have the money, Benzie, no one can trade that to me in-game. And that just feels wrong, that the corporation can't come together to help to celebrate this event. Like, what? How does that work? Really, how does that work? Corporation CEO has to pay $45. The corporation cannot assist in any way in-game with that. Yeah, sure, you can donate to PayPal or whatever, but ultimately there's nothing in-game you can do to help your corporation join in this parade. Then, if 150 corporations are chosen, only 50 of them, if 150 corporations sign up, only 50 of them will be chosen. 100 corporations get a, thanks for trying crate, and the 50 actually get to do the parade. So, what's the parade? We don't know. The description just is not at all clear there. So what we now have is the corporation CEO can spend $45 for the chance of getting to partake in an event that we don't know yet. It's participate in something. $45 for the chance to participate in something. Question marks. Just, I don't know. I really dislike how this has been handled. Like, that is a big blotch and a stain on things. I am really disappointed, genuinely actually a little hurt at this one, that it's essentially, hey, give us $45, and then part of the ranking is based on how many people have Combo Omega and stuff. So it's basically, let's celebrate the big spender corporations by doing something. And we don't know what that is. You could be an industrial corp signing up for a PvP tournament. You could be a PvP corp signing up for a competition on who can build the most spaceships. We don't know, and that just sucks. There is not enough information. The way it's been set up is just, it's abysmal. It really is abysmal, and I don't talk like this often in regards to NetEase and EVE Echoes. I like to look at things and go, I don't personally like this, but I can see how other people would. This event just seems like hot garbage, and coming from Captain Benzie, I don't know. I feel bad saying it, but I feel worse feeling it, Anyway, let's not end this on a negativity, so we're going to do a quick roundup of the things that excite me and could possibly be. From the image here, we could be getting Force Auxiliaries. It looks like we might be getting some kind of Faction War Games mode. We definitely have had the Enforcer prototype added to the game files. It's right there. You can have a look at it in the Caldari ship tree before it gets patched out. It's not a Caldari ship. It is a Concord ship. We don't know if we're getting the Pacifier or the Marshal, but definitely they're in the game files. Are they coming soon? We don't know, because the Yan Zheng stuff's been in the game file since launch and we still have no idea when that's coming. We're getting new gameplay, which in my opinion could be something like Abyssal Dead Space's, a new dungeon to run either solo or with a small fleet, hopefully aimed at smaller tonnage pilots to give them actually something to do, so that we don't have to have battleship skills and whichever ship we actually want to fly in order to, be competitive. I have to undock a battleship and bore myself witless, even though, because I want to be flying cruisers, but there's no content for me. I don't know. Would love to see that as a possibility. New enemy force, in my opinion, that is likely to be sleepers, but it could be Triglavians, it could be rogue drones, it could be Yanjung, it could be Concord. I really don't think it's Concord. I really don't think it's Concord. We don't build prototypes. People saying, oh, you kill Concord, maybe Concord have gone crazy. We go in there, we fight Concord, and we use their wreckage to build this. We've never built prototypes ever. Those look to me like they are either given away as part of the login rewards and stuff like that, part of the new event, maybe they're part of the new build-up system, or maybe they are just genuinely giving us rewards for the new faction DIR or whatever's going on there. I don't know. I'm super hype about this though. I'm disappointed by this, but I'm super hype about all this. Give me some sleepers or abyssals or just more information, obviously, as I get it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below as to what you think could be coming. But please do, don't just say, oh, I think it could be this. Tell me why you think it could be that. I want to know if I've missed anything, if there's been conversations happening around me that I just completely missed out on. Anyway, folks, thank you for tuning in on this one and listening right the way to the end of me rambling on and on about what might be coming to Eve Echoes. I'm really excited. I hope you are too. Can't wait to hear what your thoughts are, and I can't wait to see what it actually is either. Anyway, folks, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.